Welcome back to Vintage Disney and Happy Halloween. This year I wanted to take a look at another obscure title from Disney's library, Child of Glass. Child of Glass aired as part of NBC's Wonderful World of Disney on May 14, 1978. It was adapted from Richard Peck's young adult novel, The Ghost Belonged to Me, with some fairly significant changes to the source material. The very 1970s television-style score is brought to us by George Dunning, who had been nominated for an Oscar for his work on From Here to Eternity in 1953, and later provided the music for Disney's short-lived Zorro reboot, Zorro and Son. John Erman, who also gave us various episodes of classic TV shows like My Favorite Martian, and even a couple installments of the miniseries Roots and its sequel, directed Child of Glass and turned out a pretty decent family-friendly ghost story in the process. So turn the lights down low, pull the covers up over your head, let's take a look at Child of Glass. The movie opens in present day, and by that I mean 1978. 13-year-old Alexander Armsworth and his family are moving into an old antebellum-era plantation. Alexander and his sister Connie Sue aren't all that happy about the move, even though they don't have to change schools and are only living about 5 miles away from where they were before. Connie Sue may be recognizable to Willy Wonka fans as Violet Beauregarde from the original 1971 classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet!
What are you talking about?
The film was shot on location in Danville, Kentucky and New Orleans, Louisiana, and the house is beautiful, but just the right amount of creepy. Moving the story to present day is the first change Disney makes, as the book is set at the turn of the 20th century. An uncle character gets omitted from the story in the film version, which takes away the history the family has with the town in the book. The family begins work restoring the mansion, and Alexander runs across his new neighbor, an awkward girl named Blossom, who is raised by her spiritualist aunt, which is her mother in the book. I'll never understand what the Disney company has against mothers. Blossom likes to say, "Oh my goodness," and says it quite often.
Oh my goodness. 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 My goodness, I done it. I really done it.
Alexander is put off by her at first, but she proves to be a good friend. While in his room one night, Alexander sees a strange blue light and follows it to the old barn on the property where he meets two ghosts, a 19th century Creole girl named Inez Dumaine and her pet dog. Inez is played by a young Olivia BARASH, who would go on to play the Catholic schoolgirl in the Ramones music video for I Want to Be Sedated. Hey, I got to reference the Ramones in one of my videos. Inez's uncle was a pirate searching for Inez's family's treasure and killed Inez by throwing her down a well when she wasn't able to tell him where the treasure was, and even cursed her ghost to stay on the property forever. Inez's ghost needs Alexander's help to free her of the curse by solving a riddle, and he must do it before Halloween night or she'll be trapped in the plantation forever, never being allowed to move on to the afterlife and reunite with her parents. The riddle, "Sleeping lies the murdered lass, vainly cries the child of glass, when the two shall be as one, the spirit's journey will be done," seems pretty cut and dry. Clearly Inez is the murdered lass, but what about this child of glass she needs to be able to move on? Blossom, with knowledge of the spirit world from her spiritualist aunt, solves this part of the riddle with her crystal ball, which shows Alexander a vision of Inez's mother asking her to look after her China doll, Babette. Now they just have to find Babette the China doll. In the original book, the story focuses on Alexander's uncovering of what happened to Inez and promising to bring her body back to New Orleans. Disney's version is obviously a little less grisly. In the midst of trying to solve the mystery of where this child of glass might be, Alexander's mother is throwing a costume party for all the bigwigs in town and wants Alexander to be there to help. Inez's ghost, Not understanding that Alexander has to do as his parents ask, appears again to complain that he hasn't solved the mystery yet. When he assures her he's trying to figure it out, she uses her one-time only power to become flesh and blood, and waltzes with Alexander. This begs the question why dancing with a boy would be the one time she would use this power, and not to get the child of glass. For that matter, I guess this one-time power only pertains to human ghosts, as the dog manifests itself as flesh and blood multiple times. I'm probably thinking too much into this. Speaking of the dog, after the party ends early when Inez's dog wreaks havoc chasing after a cat, Alexander sneaks out of the house to find the doll. While in the barn, he witnesses handyman Omri Timmons, who was recently fired by Alexander's parents for his drunken behavior, set fire to the barn as revenge. The barn scene was shot in August of 1977 in Danville, Kentucky. The barn was a real barn that Disney bought from a local farmer, had it dismantled, and rebuilt it on set to set it ablaze. Omri Timmons, played by character actor Anthony Zerbe, sees Alexander and tries to kill him, but Alexander gets away, though he falls into the old well in the process. Alexander's family calls the police, who begin looking for Omri, with the Armsworth family wondering what became of Alexander. Channeling its inner Lassie, Inez's ghost dog barks, notifying them that Alexander is trapped in the old well. Blossom is the only one small enough to go down into the well and get Alexander out, and in doing so discovers the child of glass. All they have to do now is get to the cemetery for the final step. The Bellevue Cemetery in Danville, where the graveyard scene was shot, didn't have a suitable mausoleum needed for the scene. So Disney built one. They left it there when filming was completed, and it became a tourist attraction for a few years afterwards. With the mystery solved, the only thing left to do was lay the doll with Inez in the old cemetery and break the curse. But the kids might find more than they bargained for. As a kid of the early 90s, I didn't grow up on Child of Glass, and despite a bunch of re-airings throughout the 80s and 90s on the Disney Channel, I was only made aware of Child of Glass fairly recently. My top tier for kids' horror is Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark? The best episodes could deal with darker elements like death and not turn off younger viewers. Instead, we and our parents watching with us would want to see how the story turned out. They were intriguing, though slightly formulaic. While I personally have no nostalgic connection to Child of Glass, that's exactly how the movie felt, like one of those classic Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes. The atmosphere and characters make up for any plot holes, and everything turns out okay in the end. Child of Glass isn't scary as much as it is a mystery, and that can be pretty fun. You want to know how these clues come together and lift the curse. A lot of the children's media from this era, the 1970s, can be scarier than what you'd be used to today. But Child of Glass is more about atmosphere. This Halloween, let the spirit's journey be done with Child of Glass.
When the two shall be as one, the spirit's journey will be done. Goodbye, my friends. Do not forget me.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my look at Child of Glass. If you'd like to be kept up to date as to when I release a new video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to be notified, hit that bell as well. I'm Brian, and I'll see you next time on Vintage Disney, and happy Halloween.